Hello, world. Today we're going to talk about a topic that affects every country, every community, and every one of us, even if we don't always see it. It's about power. More specifically, America's obsession with it. But wait, this isn't a rant. It's a reality check. Not to blame, but to understand. Because when we understand what's happening, we can begin to change what's possible. Part 1. The Rise of a Superpower. Let's rewind. After World War II, the United States emerged as the most dominant global force, militarily, economically, culturally. Europe was rebuilding, Asia was struggling, and America? It was booming. The Marshall Plan helped rebuild Europe, yes, generously, but also strategically. It secured U.S. influence over Western Europe. The Bretton Woods system made the U.S. dollar the global reserve currency, and the U.S. became the new empire, not with colonies, but with control. Over oil, over trade, over weapons, over narratives. Part 2. Dollars, Defense, and Domination. Today, the U.S. has over 750 military bases in more than 80 countries. To put that into perspective, no other country has more than 20. The U.S. spends more on defense than the next 10 countries combined. In 2024, that was over $886 billion. Why? Because for decades, power has meant being untouchable. It's meant projecting strength, even if it meant endless wars. Vietnam, over 1 million Vietnamese and 58,000 American lives lost. Iraq, launched over weapons that didn't exist. Afghanistan, America's longest war, 20 years, trillions spent. What did we gain? What did we lose? Part 3. The Price of Hegemony. Let's ask the real question. Who's really paying the price? American taxpayers? Absolutely. Nearly 50% of federal discretionary spending goes to the military. Meanwhile, 1 in 6 American children lives in poverty. Over 27 million people in the U.S. don't have health insurance. Student loan debt has crossed $1.7 trillion. But it's not just Americans. Iraq lost over 200,000 civilians. Libya is in ruins. Syria's conflict, complicated by foreign interventions, continues. Afghanistan was left in chaos. And let's not forget the ripple effect. 1. Refugee crises. 2. Regional instability. 3. Anti-American sentiment. Part 4. Power beyond the battlefield. But America's power obsession isn't just military. It's economic and technological. The IMF and World Bank often dictate policy to borrowing countries, policies aligned with U.S. interests. Big tech giants, Google, Apple, Amazon, control global data and digital ecosystems. The petrodollar system keeps the U.S. dollar central to global oil trade, reinforcing economic leverage. In short, control isn't always through bombs. Sometimes it's through bytes and banks. Part 5. The Human Cost of Empire. Let's come back to people. A farmer in Sudan, a schoolgirl in Afghanistan, a family in Syria, an unemployed graduate in Detroit, a nurse in Mississippi struggling to afford insulin. They're all caught in systems, some local, some global, some shaped, directly or indirectly, by one nation's desire to lead the world. And often, the people paying the highest price have the least say in the game being played. Part 6. Power redefined. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. What if leadership wasn't about domination, but about direction? What if being a great nation wasn't about military presence, but about presence where it matters most? In climate leadership, in global healthcare collaboration, in ethical AI development, in feeding the hungry, not arming the mighty. True strength, as history shows us, comes not from fear, but from values. Empires fall, legacies don't. Rome collapsed. The British Empire faded. But their contributions, their culture, their ideas, those are what we remember most. Part 7. A tipping point? The world is watching and shifting. China is rising, economically, technologically. India is asserting itself. Africa is uniting. Latin America is questioning old dependencies. Europe is navigating a more multipolar reality. America? It stands at a crossroads. Will it continue down the path of unchecked might, military expansion, economic coercion, political polarization? Or will it do what true leaders do, listen, reflect, and evolve? Part 8. Global Leadership in the 21st Century. The world doesn't need another empire. It needs examples. It needs partners. Imagine a U.S. that leads the fight against climate change, a U.S. that exports teachers instead of troops, a U.S. that helps build hospitals instead of blowing up bridges, a U.S. that values its own people as much as it preaches abroad. That's not weakness. That's vision. And the world will follow vision, not volume. Part 9. What can we learn? So what's the takeaway? This isn't about bashing America. It's about asking a hard question with a hopeful heart. What kind of power do we want to celebrate? Because here's the truth. Every nation, not just the US, faces this choice. Power that crushes or power that creates. Power that divides or power that heals. Power that intimidates or power that inspires. History will judge us not by how many weapons we had, but by how many lives we saved, how many minds we enlightened, and how many hands we held. So let's redefine strength. Let's reward responsibility. Let's build a world where greatness isn't about who's on top, but about who lifts others with them. Because in the end, power isn't about control. It's about care. Thank you for watching. Let's talk about power, and let's talk about what really matters. Like this message? Subscribe for more truth-powered storytelling. Share your thoughts. This conversation matters.